End for a short season. Tin Pan Alley took the 1979 Edinburgh Festival by storm, and this year the Children's Music Theatre have revived the show. Although Tin Pan Alley is a revival of an old production, the director of Children's Music Theatre, Jeremy James Taylor, still puts his young company through a punishing rehearsal schedule.
Early, isn't it,
You'll never catch me in 1,000 years.
See what you've done there, Toby. Enjoy it. Good.
Just one other's love, and this magician has truly deserved.
To us! To us! Try and get that to us, Lee.
He's mightier than a miracle man.
Now look at him. Trick. Think what you're saying. Oh, yeah.
Yeah!
Now watch him, watch him. What's he going to do?
There's no question! The best you can find.
Watch this trick, react to it. Look at that.
Sound! They call him the unshakable boss.
Here comes a gun. Here comes a gun. Heavens.
Sound! He's such an unmistakable boss.
Now look at her. Look at those legs. Oh, that's better. Now let's hear. Come on, that cheers you up. Now there's never enough noise here. Never enough. Come on, more noise. Much more noise. More whistles. A great deal of din. Keep it going. It's got to get bigger. It's got to get bigger. Bang! All right. The way the company works is that the first production of a new piece tends to happen in one school. We're about to start on a new one next year. It's been done in a school in Croydon. And we will do that at the school next May in Croydon. We started writing it today. And we go to that school, we use the children from that school, the designers and the staff and so on and so forth. We do it in that school. It's their school show. It's not a children's music theatre show. We do it in school time. That way, we get a kind of free go at a production, looking at it from our point of view. From their point of view, they get different faces, more money than they might normally spend on a show, because we put funds into it as well. The upshot is that there will be a production takes place in that school next May. We will then say to them in the holidays, we would like, our part of the deal is to take that production out of the school into the holidays. We will recast accordingly with the vast hordes we've got from all over the country now, and take it to Edinburgh.
So Children's Music Theatre is very much a year-round effort. It doesn't just happen at the festival.
Sure is, yes. We've been on tour. Last Easter we did our first provincial tour. We always go into London at Christmas, and we're off abroad next April to Hong Kong for the first time, so heaven knows what that will bring.
Now, what about the age range of kids that you work with? Do you have any parameters that you stick to?
It's rather interesting. It crept up simply because we start off, we used to work exclusively with the 11, 12, 13-year-old age group. But as those 11, 12, 13-year-olds have got older, they've stuck with us. So they're all now about 17. We do profess to be more interested in working with that younger age group, and in fact this new production will be back right down there. We've got a whole new fund of that age group, and I think that's how we'd like to be thought of, as working mainly with that 12, 13-year-old age group.
You've obviously been very successful up here at the Edinburgh Fringe. What about the future? What are you going to do next?
Well, as I said, we're off to Hong Kong next April. We had an invitation to go to Hong Kong. They're creating a festival of children's musical theatre around the visit there, and that's a great big plus. To go abroad, I've always wanted to take them abroad because that's a great adventure, although coming up to Scotland's going abroad for a while. But, well, we want to continue creating new shows. We don't mind where we do them. We started touring at Easter. We took our first tour out of London. The first time we performed anywhere other than at a school or in London. We went down to the West Country. Had a marvellous time. Big, big success that was. Very big indeed. Shattering, actually. you know, theatres were full when we got there. And so we want to do much more of that, which will also bring more children in from all over the place, because one tends to base it around the London area, simply because that's where we all come from. But the more children we can get interested in applying, the better. This is much, much, much more important, this rehearsal we're about to do now, than any of the big set pieces, because it's potentially the scrappiest and the most difficult, because it's the most tedious. And we open tomorrow night. In rehearsal, we try and discipline it as much as possible. You have to harness the energy, if you like. And it gets very boring for them. They complain a lot, and then you're doing it right if that's going on. And at a certain point, they start to realise why you put them through it all, and the fun comes in, and the set arrives, and the band arrives, and they start seeing the point of why they've had to work so hard. Yes, they work incredibly hard well, as long as you can hold them and they want to. And that is a huge plus, the fact that they aren't coming to Friday morning expecting their pay packet. But basically, ultimately, too, they must be there for the fun. And the fact that while you're doing it, they'll complain and they'll moan and all sorts of things go on. But the great key, and the thing I take encouragement from, is the fact that very often the biggest moaners of the lot have come back year after year. There are some children who for the past 4 years haven't spent a holiday at home, and with their parents' blessing, I might add, have been with us. And they come back for more and more. They must be mad.
He will be here, yeah?
We don't think of them as actors as such. They're children who are hopefully doing something very well and enjoying doing it. And it's for, well, one likes to think it's for their own good, but also for the good of the company that one is having to wield it. It doesn't often happen, the stick doesn't have to get that big. And honestly, I find that you have to discipline them, apart from that one thing about, you know, being fairly young, they obviously got high spirits, but you don't have to reprimand them very much more than most professional actors.
Is everything all right, Mr. Macaroni?
Edge of a baby!
No. Again, is everything all right?
Is everything all right, Mr. Macaroni? Hey, I don't remember ordering a string of
what did you say?
Sorry.
Gang, you're going to have to, again, remember to go out to the sides much more than we did in Reading. Here we go, ready, family? 1, 2, 3, and go! Lots of noise. Get that back. Lift it forward. Bang, pull it, freeze it there. Right, let's carry on, please. Let's carry on.
Jeremy James Taylor can direct dust carts as well as actors, but he needs the help of David Neild, primarily his musical director, but a man with many other roles to play.
I have 2 or 3, I suppose, really. I write the music of about half the shows, and also over the last 2 or 3 years in Edinburgh, I've looked after the children in the house, as I'm a school teacher. It's an extension of my own job, so to speak.
So when you have the idea to do a show, what's your process of working? How does it work?
With Jeremy, first of all, we talk about possible plots. I mean, it's a fairly limited range, I suppose, for a jazz musical, which is what I've been doing so far with the Children's Music Theatre. And when we fixed on one which we feel will transfer to this sort of idiom, we work out a scenario together. We work the characters out together. We then decide where the songs will go, and then I get to work and start composing.
So you do that on your own? You literally go away and write the songs?
Pretty well, yes. I mean, often Jeremy's actually been out of the country doing something else while this is going on. Yeah.
So do you sit down with the piano always, or what?
No, I usually don't use the piano to start with. I do it when I'm walking down the street. I'm a busy man, as they say. Or in the bath. And then when I've thought of something, I write it down. It's difficult in the bath.
And
my wife to bring some manuscript paper up with wet hand, I transcribe the tune. Then I'd add chords and stuff, and then I'd see whether it works on the piano.
Jeremy, what changes do you make? What kinds of changes?
Don't make many, really. It's with this sort of jazz stuff, to get a tune which breaks, it's essentially sort of rhythmic and has all kinds of possibilities in terms of rhyming schemes, really. So I work from those and work backwards almost, so that if we take a catchphrase, which David has usually written and said, I suggest this ends up being the title of the song usually, and it's usually the last one of a verse, and I work backwards. And sometimes it's just a rhythmic change. If I find a really good phrase or a good sort of funny line, within the rhythm of the song, normally it tends to be workable. That is.
Can you give us an example out of Tin Pan Alley of a song that you've both worked on in that way?
Well, yes, the last song in the first act is a piece called The Dust Cart Rag. It's at this stage that the thieves have taken their dust carts and need to learn how to work them. And I suppose first of all the idea was that a piano rag, had some kind of association with dust carts, obviously, you see. Rag. And it also has that rather sort of jangling noise, somewhat pedestrian noise in my opinion as well, a piano rag. So I thought...
It was also apt, wasn't it, to the period, the jazz idiom.
Oh, very much so, yes.
Which is nice.
Yes.
American.
Yeah. And one needs a variety of different jazz styles in these things. So I thought of a line, which came out as something like doing the dust cart rag. And I then obviously took the rhythm of that, which was something like this, as it turned out. And then the song came pretty quickly after that, right the way through. I should never have written it in 4 flat, should I?
Take it by the handle and sway it about. They sing.
Take it by the handle and sway it about.
Move with a rhythm that's easy and slow.
Sing with American accent. Move with a rhythm that gets us going.
Plays, you see, he doesn't act, you can see that gun. And turn it around.
Give a little squiggle and turn it around.
Turn the page up. A team,
A dream
is a drama. The streets will be gleaming when we're doing
the dust cart
rag.
See how it ends. It's gonna go on.
Move it in a circle, you
It's a
give
long
it a
piece.
swirl.
Move it in a circle, you give it a whirl.
Give it a twiddle, you're coming on fine.
Back to the middle and move in line now.
Start again by wheeling around to the left.
What a crazy feeling, it's better than
This is
theft.
good. Supreme,
At sea,
the streets will be gleaming when we're doing the dust cart rag. Let's have a pint.
yes, I think so. Commercial break at that stage, I think.
As the first night of Tin Pan Alley approaches, Children's Music Theatre plaster Edinburgh with posters and fill the city with their music.
As you will clap your hands and do the dance of man song, when you hear him sing song, all two Chelsea, you should clap your hands and grab your partner, baby, sing when you hear the lead sing all two Chelsea.
Kiss your partner on the lips, whip it out, wobble above your hips, hope you pray that nothing rips, we all do that. Sing it freely, out to please, till the whole of the dance will go. Billy time, jelly time, take it steadily as she goes.
As you will clap your hands and do the dance of man song, when you hear him sing song, all two clap your hands and grab your partner, baby, sing when you hear the lead sing all two clap.
Turkey trot. Here we go. Ready? All right, Charlie. Then you catch your chin, out George John, then you start together, round board, we all do the turkey. Your fancy folks like this, the toys, and crazy to have her toes. Then adjust your feathers and press together and grab away the parson's nose.
As you will clap your hands and do the dance of man song, when you hear him sing song, all to the turkey, yes, you clap your hands and grab your partner, then sing when you hear the lead sing all to the turkey, yes, you clap.
Together and everybody joins in. Grandma's right here. Okay, Mom. Get your partner on the lips. Grab wobble above your hips. Hope you play the dance and hips. Bring up and adjust it down.
You put it on the front. You put it on the front.
If Tin Pan Alley's first night is to be successful off stage as well as on, their administration needs to get the cast to the theatre on time.
Well, we do need a bus, definitely, but we need it pretty quickly. When can we have one?
We might not be able to go out when we're in Edinburgh because the rest is going on for a long time. Yeah.
But suddenly, we've survived for 2 years, and suddenly there's a problem.
We have a different place.
You can talk, Helen. You won't exactly.
Oh, that's no good at all. Look, I've got 40 children, roughly.
Hello. Do you enjoy that? Is this the right colour for her? No, it's 28.
Well, you're the bus company. Now, you must be able to do something for me.
I can survive. To save the money, I can survive without it.
You do that, thank you.
Having put on the grease paint and climbed into their costumes, the cast set off for their first performance. Some of them are beginning to feel the tension.
I'm a bit nervous. I get nervous about 2 minutes before I go on stage.
What do you do to help your nerves?
Drink a lot.
Drink what?
Orange.
So,
Yeah.
does it worry you that people who are coming tonight have paid for their seats?
No, I just do my best and try and do it well.
What do you want to get out of this yourself?
I just want to make sure that the people in the audience enjoy themselves. I'm a bit nervous, but I get mostly nervous just before I go on stage, You stand out on the side. That's the most nerve-wracking part, I'm against called Four Eyes, which isn't a very big part, but it all helps getting the experience of stage. You just wonder if it's going to be a success or failure or whatever it's going to be like, You don't worry about whether you've got the tickets or something. You just have to do your best, and that's all you can do, really.
Oh, I play the Spiv, and it's a really enormous character. He has one line, I think, in Act 2.
And why do you think they chose you to play the Spiv?
Because I had such good accent for saying this one line. It's very important.
Do you want to give us the line? Just the...
Yeah, hang on, if I can remember, yes. I jointed it with the accent as well to make it extra
the whole
special.
thing, please.
Well, he was a rich guy, Kasim. I knew him well. A good businessman, but a lousy golfer. It's a cracker, isn't it?
Okay, across it goes. Dance well.
Do with the fans on.
The air conditioning
out there. Yeah. On full. Okay.
Honestly, my dear, I don't know how you do it.
Early one morning it happened that Alibaba was going about his work, sweeping the streets of the city, when...
Alibaba, that's me. Cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha, choo-ga, chattanooga, choo-cha, swing.
Yeah, and Karuni ain't never late.
There's nobody who stands alone. legato, staccato, vibrato. Just as I ask more questions, you'll find that the investment will be well. In my suggestions, I carried out your Mary Sue in style. Smile, just try to match me. You'll never catch me in 1,000 days. Just one fucking smoke, and this magician is doing
He's mightier than a miracle man. Wow! His hair is smooth as miracle man. Yeah! There's no question, the best you can find. They call him the unshakable boss. He's such an unmistakable boss.
Gents, dinner is served.
Hey guys, so the dust comes down to these trucks over here. Crazy man! Bro!
Sure am.
Come on now, we got more important things to do.
No, this won't take a moment. And these guys sure need help.
So come on, how'd you work these things?
Well, get yourselves organised and I'll show ya. Take it by the handle and sway it about.
Take it by the handle and sway it about.
Move with the rhythm, it's easy and slow.
Move with the rhythm that gets us going.
Give a little wiggle and turn it around.
Give a little squiggle and turn it around.
A ting,
the streets will be gleaming when we're doing the asphalt crack.
moving in a circle, you give it a twirl.
Moving in a circle, you give it a whirl.
Give it a twiddle, you come it on fine.
Back to the middle and move in line now.
So all I get by beating around with the left.
What a crazy feeling, it's better than 10.
Supreme,
a ting, the streets will be gleaming when we're doing the asphalt crack.
and now you get the hang of it.
Getting the hang of it.
Very soon you couldn't go wrong when you're telling the hang of it.
Telling the gang we can encourage them all to come along.
And all your cursing, your slang of it.
Curse and we'll slang, but get the whole thing in the bag.
We'll win the first prize and it won't be a surprise when people see how well we're doing the rap.
Hey!
Back to the beginning and whistle the tune.
Reckon that we're winning, so whistle the tune.
Hey guys, you're beautiful, you learn.
I never want to be seen dancing with the dust cart.
You make a lovely couple. Move my little quicker, there's any of room.
Move a little sticker, keep swinging the broom.
amazing in your warehouse.
She sure is.
And she's got a fabulous line in stories.
Now that is magic.
You love me, a touch of a fruity.
Yes, I really have to love her.
I always know the line is wrong.
Say this is not the time we kiss.
Cause Valentine's Day is here. Before we are showing the finish the story, you must know this is a fairy tale. So maybe you'll say we are not from Arabia, dismiss it as a fairy tale. And if you're convinced a beautiful princess should have married the hero of it all, there's plenty of stories from the flower town. Dancing in white, everyone finds Arabian Nights, Turkish delights are the best of all. Spreading songs and spreading laughter, something only you can do. You'll live happy ever after if this story was all true. You're the best of us all, and the rest of us all know it's well. Alibaba, we have fallen for your magic
The future is our oyster.